Okay, so just to kind of get our hips moving before we come down to the ground, we're going to start with one foot slightly forward of the other, and then we're going to place your hands on your hips like you're making little Barbie hands, right? You're going to put a little press into the sides of your hips, and then keeping that light little bit of pressure, circle your hips in one direction. And think of this maneuver a little bit like you're trapping the outer connective tissue. So you're trapping the skin and the muscles, and then you're just getting those hips moving, and see if you can just kind of tune in and feel that movement under your hand or under your hands. Take one more circle in this direction and then go the other way. Keep that foot forward, keep that light little press in your hands. Notice that movement of your hips under your hands. Nice. One more circle around, and then we're going to switch feet. So the other foot's going to step forward, keep that nice little press on the hips, and then start to circle in one direction. Awesome. And then keep that foot forward, but circle the other way. Beautiful. One more circle around. And then with a more even stance, we're just going to start by like smushing through our feet. So crunch up your toes like you're doing that little cat dance, or like you're trying to pick something up with the bottoms of your feet. And then once you've got that transfer of weight down, we're going to take it into some nice big lifts of the knees. So circle one knee and then circle the other. And then just assuming that your hips are feeling good and happy about this and your knees are going to feel good, we're going to come down onto the ground into extended child's pose or child's pose, whichever version you like best. So find your way towards the back edge of your mat. And then if you like that little bit of challenge, you can do it hands free. You can just start to float your knees down, pick up your heels, take your knees out super wide, and then release your toes. But if you need to take your hands down onto the ground, give yourself the assist that you need. And then once you found your way there, walk yourself forward, let your belly, your chest, your forehead melt down, and take a few minutes to just get comfortable here. So as you're settling into this shape and you find a little softness through the back of your body, see if you can tune in and just notice the physical action of breath in your body. So maybe you'll notice the breath in the back side of your body, between your shoulder blades and the backs of your ribs. And then maybe take your awareness to the front of your body and notice the breath in your belly and your chest and your armpits. And then before we move away from this place of stillness, take a moment here to set an intention to honor your mind and your body throughout your practice, never doing anything in your practice that would cause your body pain, and treating yourself with love, care, and respect. And then with that intention set, if your forehead is touching the ground and it feels available, you're going to rock your head just a little bit side to side. But if it feels like it could use just a little bit of a lifting up sensation, bring your hands in, stack your palms, and then rest your forehead on your hands, and then rock your head a little bit side to side. So we're just bringing a little bit of gentle movement into the cervical spine and massaging out the forehead or the third eye, just depending on what point of your head is touching the floor or your hands. Take one more turn of the head side to side or even yourself out. And then when you're ready, head comes to center, gently start to lift yourself up into a tabletop position, but take your time as you come on up. Walk your knees in so they're in line with the hips, wrists in line with the shoulders. And then once you found your way there, just take a second here to bop your hips a little side to side, like you're trying to drop the sides of your hips towards the floor. Beautiful. One more bop of the hips side to side. And then hips are going to stay fairly neutral, and we're going to start to find a C-spine. So you're going to hug your shoulder towards your hips, but the hips are staying pretty stationary. Nice. One more little squeeze side to side, and then bring it back to center. Move right into a cat and cow breath. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your tail. Exhale to round your back. Inhale as you drop your belly. Exhale to round. One more cycle of breath just like that. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your tail. Exhale to round your back, and then we're going to add on. So as you inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your tail, curl the toes under. Exhale, round your back. Keep your toes curled under, pull your butt back to your heels. Inhale, come forward, keep the toes curled under, drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your tail. Exhale, keep the toes curled under, round your way back. Beautiful. One more time, just like that. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your tail, keep the toes curled under. Exhale to round back, keep the toes curled under. And then come forward, keeping the toes curled under, drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your tail, keep your belly down, and then nod your head up and down 3 times. Beautiful. And then find a more neutral spine. So pull the abdominal muscles in, broaden your shoulders, keep the toes curled under, push your butt back toward your heels. And then here, if it feels good, you're just going to rock your hips a little bit side to side. And then do a real legit check-in with your feet and your toes. So if it feels good and you're happy here, you're going to stay here. But if it feels like you can get a bigger stretch, you're going to walk yourself back and sit up on your heels. And then if you're sitting up on your heels, just take a second. You can maybe reach down, make sure your toes are nice and spread on the earth. And then if you've got all that situated, you're going to take your right fingertips into your left palm and get a little stretch, pushing your palm forward, keeping your shoulders soft and down. Take a nice big breath. Beautiful. And then let that hand go, take it to the other side. So left fingertips into the right palm, push your palm forward, keep your shoulders soft and down. Nice. And then release that, give your hands a little shake, and then float yourself forward. If your toes were still tucked under, release them and then give them a light little tap on the floor. Cool. And then from here, let that tapping come to stillness. Slide your right foot back, toes curled under, take 3 rocks forward and back just to bring it into the Achilles heel and the calf. Beautiful. And then slide that foot in, switch to the other side. Left foot slides back, toes curled under, rock yourself forward and back. Nice. And then slide that foot in right into puppy pose, hips in line with the knees. Walk your hands towards the top edge of your mat. Let your chest and your forehead drop down. Take a nice big inhale. Nice slow exhale. And then from here, we're going to start to find our way into a Sphinx position. So you're going to lift your chest slightly so you can slide your hands in. Elbows are going to come in line with the shoulders, arms in a parallel position. Walk your legs to the back end of your mat. Come through a low plank. So we're just going to firm up our belly, broaden the shoulders, find a little strength there. And then when you're ready, release your knees down to the ground, release your toes, hips touch down, and then we pull the elbows back energetically towards the ribs. So they don't really move, but we find a little engagement squeezing between the shoulder blades. Heart comes forward, lift up through the crown of your head. And then just for a moment here, see if you can bring your awareness or sensation down to your front hip bones and see if you can just imagine that you're pressing your hip bones down into the earth. Take a nice big inhale. Nice, slow exhale. Beautiful. And then soften all of that up. Walk your elbows out nice and wide. Shake out your bum just a little bit. And then we're going to take our hands alongside the shoulders, 3 low cobras here. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale to lower down. Inhale to lift up. Exhale to lower down. Beautiful. One more time, just like that. Inhale and lift up. Exhale to lower down. Awesome. And now we're going to take it into some scorpion twist. So right hand's going to reach out straight from your shoulder. You're going to roll over onto your right hip. Left foot's going to touch the floor and then bring it right back in. Roll onto your belly, slide your right hand in, slide your left hand out, roll over onto your left hip and step your right foot behind you. Beautiful. Once it touches down, bring it right back in onto your belly. Slide the left hand in, reach the right hand out, roll over onto the right, touch the floor, bring it back in. Slide the right hand in, left hand out, roll over onto the left and touch the floor behind you. Beautiful. One more time each side. Roll back onto your belly, right hand out, roll over onto that right hip, touch the floor behind you, bring it in, slide that hand in, left hand out, roll over onto that left hip. Beautiful. And then bring it back in. Now we're going to push our way up to a tabletop position. Curl the toes under. When you're ready, exhale up to a downward facing dog and start to pedal out the legs, bending one knee and pressing into the opposite heel. One more pedal of each leg, or even yourself out. And then when you're ready, soften your knees, look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to a ragdoll fold at the top of your mat. Feet about hip or shoulder width distance apart. Make a little space for your belly and your chest. If it feels good here, grab your elbows and let your head hang nice and heavy. If it feels good, take a second to just make sure your feet are solid on the floor, and then take a gentle sway side to side just to make sure your feet are nice and anchored on the ground. Have a good position with the legs, and we're going to take it right into a sundial from here. So as you inhale, elbows are going to pull over to the right, lift them up and overhead, circle all the way up and around. And as you exhale, circle those elbows back down to the ground. Back over to the right. Inhale as you lift the elbows up and overhead. Exhale as you circle down. One more time on this side. Inhale, lift up and overhead. Exhale, circle around. As you come back down to that fold, take a second, sway a little side to side. Just make sure your feet are nice and even on the ground. And then take it to the other side. Inhale as you lift the elbows up and overhead. Exhale as you circle around. Inhale as you lift up. Exhale to circle around. Nice. One more time, just like that. Inhale to lift up. Exhale to circle down. And then as you come back down, release your grab from your elbows. Inhale to a half forward fold. Hands glide to the shins. Exhale, soften back down to the ground. Inhale to that half forward fold. See if you can pull up from the low belly, lengthen through the crown of your head. Beautiful. Exhale, soften back down. One more just like that. Inhale to that half forward fold position. Hands glide to the shins. Awesome. And then keep all that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center, hands down at your sides. And then just take a second as you come into your standing position, just to get yourself all sorts of situated, and find your mountain pose at the top of your mat. Feet about hip width distance apart, toes and knees pointing fairly forward, arms down at your sides. Lift from the soles of your feet, lift from the tops of your legs, lift through the crown of your head. When you're ready, inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, bend your knees, fold down to the ground. Inhale to a half forward fold. Keep that length in your spine. Bend your knees, push into your feet. Inhale, arms up. Hands to heart center. Interlace your fingers here. Flip the palms, press them forward. Shoulders soften down. And then keeping that nice position with the arms, firm up your belly. Imagine you're pulling your ribs in towards each other. And then if it feels nice to do so, push the palms up and overhead. Beautiful. And then if you'd like, add on a little side bend, lean over to the right. Come back to center, lean over to the left. Come back to center, unlace your fingers, float your hands down, roll your shoulders down and back. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale to a half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, stepping the right leg back into a low lunge position. So we're going to bring the knee down to the ground. That back toe is tucked or released, totally up to you. Hand to your front knee, lift your chest. Pull that left hip crease back. Inhale, reach your arms up and look up. Left hand is going to find the hip. Right hand's going to stay up. We're going to lean over to the left, take a little side bend. Beautiful. Lift up and reach your left hand up again to the sky. Float both hands down to frame your front foot. And then we're going to, if your back toes are curled under, just release them. And then we're going to take 3 half splits here. Rock yourself forward and back, just going to the point where you feel a little bit of lengthening through the back of the leg, but no stinging sensation up in your glutes. Beautiful. And then the next time you rock forward, curl your back toes under, lift your back knee up, plant your palms, step back to a plank, come down onto the belly with control. Release your knees, release your toes, and slowly lower yourself down. Beautiful. Into a cobra as high as you like. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale to lower down. Curl the toes under, either power up to a plank or to a tabletop position, and then find your way up to downward facing dog. Look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to forward fold at the top of your mat. With that forward fold position, we're going to make those nice tall piano fingers so we get that nice support with our hands. Shift your weight onto your left foot slightly, and we're just going to pick up the right heel, hug your heel towards your butt, just to the point where you feel a little squeeze in the hamstring muscle. Beautiful. And then release that foot down, shift your weight onto your right foot, bend your left knee, hug your left heel in toward your butt, feel that little squeeze in the hamstring muscle. Nice. And then release that foot down, bend both knees, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll up to a standing position, roll your shoulders down and back. Inhale, arms up and look up. Exhale, bend your knees and fold. Inhale to half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, stepping the left leg back, low lunge. Knee down, toes tucked or released. That's totally up to you. Hand to your front knee, lift your chest, pull that right hip crease back, reach your arms up and look up. Beautiful. Right hand to the hip, left hand stays up, lean over to the right, get a little side bend. Nice. And then as you lift up, right hand comes with. Float both hands down to the ground. If those back toes are curled under, release them. Take 3 half splits here. Rock yourself back and then come forward and just again, make sure that you're finding lengthening through the back of the leg, but no shooting sensation in the glutes. Beautiful. And then the next time you come forward, curl the back toes under, pick your back knee up, plant your palms, step back to a plank. Right away, lower with control. Bring your knees down, gently lower yourself onto your belly. 1 cobra as high as you like. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. Power up to a plank or through tabletop, and then find your way to downward facing dog. Look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to forward fold at the top of your mat. Nice tall fingers are those piano hands. Keep your fingers nice and tall on the ground. Shift your weight onto your left foot, pick your right heel up, squeeze it in toward your bum. Release that foot down, shift your weight onto your right foot, lift up your left heel and squeeze it toward your bum. Beautiful. Release that foot down, bend both knees, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll up nice and slow. Roll your shoulders around, down and back. Shift your weight onto your left foot, pick your right knee up. Set the right foot down, shift your weight onto the right foot and pick your left knee up. Awesome. Set that foot down, reach both arms up like you're holding that beach ball above your head. Exhale, sink into a little chair. Pause in that chair position, and then just see if you can shift your weight slightly back into your heels, curl your tailbone slightly so you feel a little bit of an engagement in your solar plexus. Reach energetically through the fingertips, gaze is slightly forward, but a little bit down towards the floor. Take a nice big breath. 1 more big inhale. And then as you exhale, fold everything down. Inhale to a half forward fold. Exhale to soften down, step both feet back to down dog. right into a three-legged dog. So we're going to pick the right leg up, and then you might choose here to just keep it in a squared position. Hips are squared and shoulders are squared. And then if it feels good, you might choose to pick that knee up, let the knee bend, roll the hip open, take one good breath there. Beautiful. And then release it nice and slow down to the ground. Take the left leg up. You might opt to keep your shoulders square and hips square, but if it feels good to do so, you'll bend the knee and let the hip roll open. Awesome. And then float that foot back down to the ground, back to extended child's pose. Pick up your heels, lower your knees, come through tabletop, big toes together, knees to the outer edges of your mat. Pull your butt back to your heels. Let your belly, your chest, and your forehead soften down. Take 3 nice big breaths here. On your next inhale, you're going to lift slightly, picking up your right hand, thread your right hand through and underneath the left. So right ear, right shoulder are going to reach towards the ground, finding a little rotation in the torso. Take a nice big breath as you press into your left palm so your butt comes back towards your heels. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, lift up slightly, unwind that right arm, lift up, slide your left hand through, left ear, left shoulder to the ground, push into that right hand so your butt comes back to your heels, and take a nice big breath here. Awesome. On your next inhale, lift up, unwind, both hands come forward. We're going to lift the butt up, curl your toes under, exhale, and find your way back up to down dog. Look forward, walk your feet up to meet your hands, come to forward fold at the top of the mat. Now we're going to take it into standing half splits, but we're going to start with a little bit of a small movement. So find those tented fingers, those nice tall hands, and then start by just sliding your right foot back slightly. And then if it feels good, you're going to take 3 little lifts and lowers of the legs. So the toe is going to pick up and then release to the ground, pick up and release, pick up and release. Nice. And then slide that foot in, take it to the other side. Slide your left foot back just slightly, and then see how it feels to pick the toe up and release it down, pick it up, release it down. Nice. One more just like that. Pick it up and release it down. Beautiful. Both feet together, bend your knees, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll up to a standing position, roll your shoulders down and back. Inhale, reach up, grab that beach ball. Exhale, sink into a chair. Take one nice big breath. And then as you exhale, fold it all down. Inhale to a half forward fold just to create a little space, a little length. And then exhale, soften down. Tense your fingers, shift your weight onto your left foot, slide your right foot back. And now we're going to pick it up as high as you like, as high as your leg goes comfortably. And then take 3 Shiva squats here. So we're going to take that right knee, bend your standing leg, tuck your right knee behind your left, take a little curtsy, lift that leg up nice and high. Beautiful. Do that again. Bend your standing leg, tuck your right knee behind the left, and lift it up nice and high. Awesome. One more just like that. Bend and tuck it in. Lift it up nice and high. Stay for 1 extra breath here. And then release that leg with control. Shift your weight onto your right foot. Pick up your left leg. Send it up nice and high. Beautiful. Bend your standing leg. Tuck your left knee behind the right into that Shiva squat. And then send that left leg up nice and high. Awesome. Bend and bring it in. Send it up nice and high. One more just like that. Bend and bring it in. Send it up nice and high. Stay for 1 extra breath. Nice. And then release that foot with control. We're going to curl down into a little ball of yarn. So bend your knees, pick up your heels, roll yourself down. And then sit back onto your butt. And we're going to take a wide leg position. So as you sit your butt down, take a second to just send your legs out to a width that feels good to you. So we're not going to the Olympics here, but we just want to make sure we feel a little sensation in the inner thigh and the groin, but no shooting sensation. And you can bend your knees just as much as you like. So there's nothing going on too heavy in the back of the legs. Once you found like you've got a good position of the legs, nice and active, pinky toes pull back, inner thighs are engaged. Walk your hands forward, one step, and then just take a second to shift around, make sure everything feels good. Take a nice big inhale, lift your heart, lift your gaze. And then as you exhale, walk your hands forward one more step. Inhale, lift your heart just a little bit. Exhale, walk your hands forward one more step. Inhale, lift your heart, create a little length. Exhale, maybe see if you can walk your hands forward one more step, and then soften here. Keeping the inner thighs engaged, toes are active and pulling back, softening through the back of your body, softening through the back of your neck. Take one more breath. Keep your legs active, walk your hands back in, come up to a nice tall position. Take the left elbow to the inside of your inner thigh. We're going to use that for a little bit of leverage. So you're going to think about pushing your elbow into the inner thigh. Bottom ribs pull forward, top hand reaches up. Take a nice big side bend. Beautiful, lift it up with control. Bring the right elbow to the inside of the inner thigh. Wedge against that inner thigh so bottom ribs pull forward, top hand reaches up. Take a nice big breath. Nice, and then when you're ready, lift it up with control, grab the back sides of your knees, bend those knees, help the legs come together, and we're gonna roll our way down to the ground. So hold on to the sides of your thighs. Knees push out as hands push in, so we're gonna find a little bit of an engagement there, get those hip stabilizer muscles firing on, and then keeping that press as your knees press out and your hands press in. You're gonna drag your hands along your thighs as you roll your way down to the ground with control. Awesome. And then once you found your way down, just give a second, get yourself situated, fix your clothes, fix your hair, get settled on the floor. And then once you feel like you found it, we're going to take the right leg across the left like you're crossing your legs in a chair. So one knee is going to be unstacked on top of the other. We're going to pick the knees up and then pull the toes away from each other. See if you can reach up, grab hold of your shins or the tops of your feet, whichever handhold feels better to you. Toes pulling away from each other, knees drawing into the chest. So hopefully with that right leg on top, you're feeling a little sensation down into your right glute. Take a nice big breath. One more breath here. Wonderful. And then when you're ready, release your handhold from your shins, unwind your legs, float them back down to the ground. Pause just for a moment. Notice how one side feels a little different than the other. And then take it to the other side. Left leg is going to cross over the right, like you're crossing your legs in a chair. Lift up. Move the toes away from each other so you can reach up, grabbing the shins or the tops of your feet, and then pulling the toes away from each other as you draw the knees into your chest. And now hopefully you're feeling a little sensation down into your left glute. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, slowly and mindfully unwind. Step both feet down to the ground, toe heel your feet to the outer edges of your mat. Take a couple of windshield wipers here. And then as you get those knees going, float your arms up into cactus or goalpost position. So elbows are in line with the shoulders, 90-degree bend in those elbows, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Once you've got your arms in a good position, add your head turning as well. So head's going to turn in the opposite direction of your knees. The next time your knees drop over to the right, let them get nice and heavy, head turns to the left. And then if it feels good to your knees or to your hips, think about stacking your right foot on top of your left thigh and then letting your knees drop down again. But if that doesn't feel good to your knees and your hips, leave that part off. You'll still get plenty of work through the front of that left hip without compromising your knees. Once you feel like you've got your legs in a good position, arms are going to stretch out to a T, and then we're going to take the left hand, reach toward your left foot as your right hand reaches up towards the top of your mat. So you're going to find a little side bend, squeezing in through the left side of the body. Take a nice big breath. Awesome. And then release your arms back out, releasing that side bend. step your right foot off. Take a couple of gentle windshield wipers just to kind of soothe all that out. And then if it feels good, you're going to take your knees, drop them over to the left and let them sink nice and heavy. And then see if it feels good to stack your left foot on top of the outside of the right thigh. And then you'll know right away. If that doesn't feel good to the knee or the hip, leave that part off. Once you've got your legs in a position that you like, you're going to reach your right hand towards your right foot. Left hand is going to reach up towards the top of your mat, finding a little side bend now through the right side of the body. Beautiful. And then release. Arms are going to come back out at your sides. If that foot was stacked, go ahead and step it off. Take a couple more gentle windshield wipers just to kind of soothe all that out. Nice. And then from here, we're going to take it into happy baby. So the next time your knees come up towards the ceiling, pick those knees up, float them towards your shoulders, catch hold of your knees or your shins, hug it in for a little squeeze, and then see which hand hold feels best to you here. You might hold on to the backs of your thighs. You might hold on to the blade edge of your feet or your big toe, whatever feels good to you. And then think about drawing your knees nice and wide down towards the ground. Tailbone softens down, shoulder head soften down. And then if you've got a good position and it feels good to do so, take a little bit of rocking side to side. One more little rock side to side, and then we're going to send our legs into legs up the wall. So release your handhold from your feet or your thighs, float your heels up towards the ceiling. Allow as much bend in your knees as feels appropriate to you so that it feels comfortable in the backs of your legs. Tailbone heavy, belly nice and soft. Arms come out at your sides in whatever position feels good to you. We're going to keep the left leg still, and we're going to give the right leg a nice gentle shake. Allowing a little bit of looseness in the muscle tissue. So we get that nice vibrational work, and it's really good for the lymphatic system. So give that leg one more good vigorous shake, and then let your right leg come to stillness and start to shake your left leg. And again, we want to invite a little softness into the muscle tissue, a little softness in the joints. Get that vibration going so you feel that nice little wiggle jiggle. You might even notice it down into your breast. Awesome. Take one more good shake of that left leg, and then let both legs come to stillness and just a gentle point and flex of the feet, pointing your toes up towards the ceiling and then pulling your toes in toward your chest. Cool. One more little points and flex of the feet. And then when you're ready, soften your feet into a neutral position, bend your knees and float your feet down to the ground. Pause just for a moment once your feet touch to the ground, and then ask yourself where would be your best Shavasana. Would it feel good to come to constructive rest, letting the knees drop in towards each other, into reclined cobbler's pose, maybe tucking some pillows or yoga blocks under your thighs, or making that more traditional shape and walking your feet to the end of your mat. So take a second to find what feels best to you here. Give a moment or two to work out all those little wiggles. Make sure your tailbone feels good, shoulder blades feel good, head feels like it's in a happy position. Start to bring your awareness back into your body. Become aware of the floor beneath you and gently start to reawaken. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle your toes. Maybe turn your head a little side to side. Invite any other gentle movement into your body that feels good to you. And then if it feels really great to do so, take a big good morning stretch like a yawn. If your knees are bent, maybe think about walking them to the end of your mat, reaching long through fingers and toes. Take a nice big giant breath back into your body. Cool. And then if your legs are walked out long and your arms are overhead, step your feet in. We're going to roll over onto one side into a fetal position. So shift your hips, roll to one side, and then that top hand is just going to touch down onto the ground. Let your head rest, let your hand rest. And just for a moment here, tune in and notice your breath. Beautiful. And then with control, lift yourself up nice and slow. Start to find your way up into a comfortable seated position. Maybe you come back to a Sukhasana with your legs crossed or any other seat that feels good to you. Nice. And then once you've found your way up to that nice, comfortable seated position, shoulders soften down, we're going to take our light piano fingers and just do a couple light taps up and down the chest. So think from the collarbones down to the sternum and just a nice light tapping sensation. And then if you like, close your eyes down and just tune in and notice that tapping. You might hear it in your breath. Take one more tap up and down. And then stack one hand on top of your heart and the other hand right on top of that hand. Closing your eyes down, tuck your chin down to your chest. Take a nice deep breath in. Breathing in love and gratitude for yourself, for your mind, for your body, and for all of your hard work. And breathe in a little extra love and gratitude that you can carry with you through the rest of your day and share with everyone you see. And gently lift up through the top of your head, gently open your eyes. I bow to you. Happy Saturday.